home in Ridge, Maryland. It's September the 5th, 1996. I have told Mrs. Bennett that if she's uncomfortable answering any of the questions, I would understand. The first question is, what were times like when you were a child? How did you and your family live? What did you eat? Things like that.
We was quite fortunate. We were living on a farm, and we had waterfront property. So we raised nearly everything that we had except sugar and kerosene and salt and things like that. And in the wintertime we had seafood. We had oysters and sometimes, of course, they caught crabs along with the oysters. We had fried hard crabs in the winter. And they salted the fish because they had no refrigeration or anything for them. And so they had salt fish, like fish cakes. And they always, I remember them killing a beef every year. And we had sheep. I don't remember them killing sheep, but when they killed hogs, they already had 9 hogs. And it was more than most people had. But I don't know. My father, my uncle, liked fat hogs because he could eat the fat meat. I hated it. But it was a lot of us. It was 9 children because my uncle had 7 children. My father had 2.
Oh, so both families lived on the farm together.
They lived. There was 3 brothers that lived on the farm, but the oldest one Uncle Charlie had a son, but he was grown before we was even born. So because he was the oldest brother. And so it was Uncle Randolph and my father. And my father had 2 children. Every other child died. The oldest one died, and my sister lived, and the next one died, and I lived, and the baby. My mother died in childbirth.
Okay, so you're saying that you told me earlier that y'all lived on St. Jerome's Neck Creek.
It was St. Jerome's Neck, but the creek was bordering on our property. And we lived about a mile from the bay, Chesapeake Bay, but our property wasn't joining the Chesapeake Bay.
And you said St. Jerome's Neck is at the Dameron post office there, but quite a few years ago they had their own post office.
Yes. I don't remember what year that was. It was in 18 and something.
Okay. Do you think back then when you were coming up that the times were better or worse than what they are now?
Wasn't as much violence for sure. And they have more finance now, but they had very little money in those days.
So you're saying because it's more money now that things are better, or
better financially?
Yeah, better financially, but overall, do you think it's
No, because now people seem to be more independent and they don't associate like they used to then.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember when they used to have something that the families used to have something they called run-in. What they used to do, they would tell one member of the family what they were going to do, and they would have prepare everything like they was going to have a party.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't come to your house until late, I guess about 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And this one person would greet them at the door and, you know, show them in where they're going to have the dance and refreshments.
Mm-hmm.
And all the children would be in bed. And we'd have this music down there playing and dancing. And this man, there was one man called Stephen Neal, he had the bass fiddle. George Thompson played violin, I think.
Uh-huh.
And somebody else, his brother had a violin, but I don't know. They wouldn't let us come downstairs unless we, you know, had excuse. Maybe he was coming out for some water or something. But we had a large house, and one side of the house had we call it a hall, but it was a long room. It was the length of the house.
Uh-huh.
And it was, you could dance in there. I mean, you know, there was nothing else in there. We used to hang the cloaks in there, you know, but it was just a clear space for dancing.
So that a lot of people had these house parties like that?
Yeah.
Mm.
But they didn't have the space that we had.
Uh-huh.
Because my grandfather, I mean, that's what they used to do down there to raise money for St. Peter's. Even before the parish separated from St. Michael's, they used to have entertainments down to Ben Biscoe's house, and to raise money for St. Peter's.
St.
Claver.
Peter's.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. What is your earliest memory? You know, one lady told me her earliest memory was riding behind a horse and buggy. But what is your earliest memory?
I was 2 when my mother died. I didn't know what was going on, but I do recall my aunt had me in her arms and she was standing at the end of the porch crying. I was always concerned that, you know, about her physical condition or whatever.
Your aunt?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
the one that raised me, and Aggie. They call her Aggie. That would be my earliest memory. And I was telling my cousins today, I mean, I remember my aunt trying to teach me how to dance because I always wanted to know how to dance. And I see it on one of these commercials or something they have on TV. This man, I think he's got this little girl standing on his feet, dancing.
Uh-huh.
And that's what she used to do. And I said, I must not have been too big, because I was always kind of stout, you know.
And you would stand on somebody's feet?
I would stand on my aunt's feet. She'd tell me stand on her feet.
Uh-huh.
And she would teach me how to two-step. That was the famous, if you could two-step, you could do anything else. Later I learned to waltz and do the one-step, stuff like that, but the two-step.
Oh, okay. Describe your relationship with your sister. How did y'all get along? Did y'all play together? And
we got along fine. I mean, she was 6 years older than me because of the children in between.
uh-huh.
And she would tease me. Sometimes she would pet me, and she would tell me that my aunt was, I had probably done something I wasn't supposed to do, and she said, and I used to say, when she catches up with you, so she hid me one day in the closet and told me I better stay in there, She must have forgot all about me because I couldn't get out of there till later.
Oh, goodness.
And, but we got along all right. The only thing, I mean, when they would always scare you. She would always want me to go upstairs with her to make up the beds, and I told her no, I wasn't going because she was going to scare me. And she said, no, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
So when he got ready to come downstairs, she would always run down ahead of me because she was bigger and everything, and tell me there was the devil standing up here with 3 eyes, one in the middle of his forehead. And I was scared to death. And if I woke up during the day, in the morning, in the summertime, and all the rest of the people had gone downstairs, my cousins and everybody, I was afraid to go downstairs. I remember praying to the Lord, and then I said, Mr. Devil, these are for you. Said some prayers. I was trying to say them backwards for him because they say he liked everything the wrong way. But I guess we were like any other artists. I mean, normal people. But she sure liked to scare me.
So how long were the two families together all during the time you were growing up on St. Jerome's Neck?
Yes.
Okay.
My sister left from she went to Washington with my father when she was 14. But the rest of us stayed on the farm until we grew up.
You said she went to Washington with your father?
Yeah, because I was 7 years old when he left home to go take a government job.
Oh, okay.
He worked in the House Office building.
Okay, so your other uncle and his wife, her name was Agnes.
Yeah.
They raised you along with their children.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Agnes didn't have this one son, but Randolph was there. That was Ernestine, and the rest of them father. It was three brothers on that farm, but just 2 of them had children, Randolph and my father.
Agnes was the oldest brother's wife?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She took care of the youngest, the other 2 brothers' children, which was no relation to her at all, just by marriage.
Oh, okay, I get it now. Okay. And how did you get along with your cousins then?
I got along with them fine, better than they got along with each other.
Okay.
I could get along with all of them, and they'd rather be with me than,
with their own brothers and sisters. Okay, I have it now. You said you went to St. Peter's Church. Yeah, okay. St. Peter's Catholic Church on St. Peter's Church Road.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you take any trips as a child?
Yes, we took trips to, I remember going to the Washington Monument and to Smithsonian, and I think to the Capitol. And Mrs. Marshall, she was Daniel Bond's daughter. She had a store, a restaurant, I guess, up there in Washington. And we went there, and we had cocoa, hot cocoa. First time I remember drinking cocoa. And I don't know where we had sandwiches or not. I'm sure she must have furnished us with sandwiches. because, you know, when this cocoa gets this
Skin on it.
Skin on it.
Yeah.
I thought it was, you know, I didn't know it was that hot. And I had borrowed, we all had these midi blouses.
Uh-huh.
And I had borrowed it from my cousin. I wished this hot chocolate on it till it burnt me. And I was worried to death about that.
Okay. Okay. During the time that you were coming up, how were senior citizens treated? You know, what happened to the people who were too old to care for themselves? You know, did the families take care of them, or were there any facilities for them?
No facilities at all. I mean, they stayed with the family. Whoever was in the family just, you know, took care of them.
About your health concerns, how did your parents, well, when I say parents in this, you know, instance, I'm talking about, you know, your father until he left, and your uncles and aunts. How did they deal with health and illnesses, and did they have any home remedies, and did you used to have a doctor, and where did you go for medical reasons?
They had a lot of home remedies. And I was delivered by a doctor. I think all of my mother's children was delivered by a doctor, I guess. I mean, I know I was.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember going to a doctor until I got grown. I mean, you know, until I probably went to the doctor myself on my own. Because my grandmother was a midwife, or my great-grandmother was a midwife.
Mm-hmm.
And they would always send for her, don't care what time of night it was. Because they said when I had the measles, I had a real high temperature. And they sent for her. They said my breathing, I was shaking the whole cradle.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you don't remember any doctors at all while you were coming up?
No, I do remember when the rest of them, I didn't get it. It was about 3 of us that didn't have the typhoid fever. That was the first time I remember a doctor being in the house. His name was Dr. Brown. And he would come down there and he taught Beatrice and myself, which Beatrice was around my age, that was Uncle Randolph's daughter, how to take the temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And what we used for disinfection, he had told us to take this carbolic acid and put a certain amount of it into a glass and fill the rest up with water and keep the thermometer in that. And that's what we used to disinfect the thermometer.
The thermometers, okay. So did you ever have to go to a hospital when you were coming up?
No.
Okay. So besides that one time that you can remember that a doctor was in the house, the family did not go to any medical facilities that you knew of?
No.
Okay. And you said y'all depended a lot on home remedies. Like what? Can you name a few?
One that sticks out in my mind, I don't know what I had that this lady told my aunt to take these, I don't know what these little bugs are. They look something like armadillos, because when you touch them, they curl up like an armadillo.
Uh-huh.
Told them to put them into a bag, and so she got a little tobacco bag, you know, like you had to put this smoking tobacco. I mean, you know, somebody that used a pipe or something.
Mm-hmm.
They had this little bag with a drawstring on it. Some people call them wood lice. I don't know what they are. They come from under the boards and things. I begged her not to. I was too sick to resist anything. You know, I said, we called her Nanny. I said, Nanny, please don't put those things on me. Don't put those. But she tied them around my neck. So I don't know what. Then put onions, this onion poultice.
Mm-hmm.
For a long while, I couldn't stand the smell of onions. It would make me sick. I felt like I was going to faint. I'm just getting so I can eat onions. I mean, sometimes now I crave them, but I mean, I was working for the priest. I cooked onions once. I had to leave and go home. It was on Sunday evening. I left all the dishes and everything on the table till Monday morning. I don't know what they thought of that.
Onions. Well, to go back with the little armadillos,
Yeah.
what was that for? I mean, what was that supposed to cure?
I don't know whether I had, didn't seem like it was the whooping cough. I don't know whether I had a temperature. I always had something wrong with them. I don't know if it was for the fever or, I don't know what it was for. I know I was sick.
Uh-huh.
And another thing, when you were sick, they wouldn't give you if you had a temperature, they wouldn't give you cold water.
Oh.
If they give you water at all, it was warm water. And you already had a temperature. So my sister used to steal me, go to the well and get water and sneak it to me.
Okay.
I guess that's the only thing that saved me.
And was that cold water that she got? Okay. What types of things did you do as a child? You know, did you like to play ball, or, you know, what?
We would try to play ball every evening, you know, in the spring of the year, and, you know, when the weather got warm.
Mm-hmm.
Other time, we had a Victrola. It wasn't a Victrola, it was a phonograph, because you wind it up, and it didn't have these flat records. It had round cylinder records, and you didn't have to change the needle. It had a diamond needle on there, and it never wore out. And these cylinders, you just push it on. It was an real old-fashioned phonograph that my aunt had give us. She bought it in Baltimore. And she got tired of it, she gave it to us. We kept it until we nearly wore it out. So we used to dance with that. After my aunt taught me to dance, I tried to teach the other children how to dance. I loved to dance.
Okay. What kind of chores did y'all have to do?
That we didn't do. We had to leave home so early in the morning. We didn't do anything. We just try to get ourselves together in the morning to get out of there, because we had to cross creek. We had to cross St. John's Creek every morning to the other side and walk about 9 miles to school through the woods and come up to the graveyard. And in the evening, if they had the boat, I mean, by the time we got back home, after crossing the creek, going back home, I guess it was nearly around 6 o'clock or sometime or something, at least 5 o'clock. And if it was in the spring of the year, I'd sneak out the back door and go out there until I learned how to plow with this double horse team. But we were supposed to be making up the beds, and you know, didn't have inside plumbing, so we had to carry out the chambers and stuff like that, and clean the lampshades and fill up the lamps and bring in the wood and get water. And anything that else that needed to be done around there.
Okay. Your aunt and uncles, how did they treat you and the other kids? You know, how did they discipline you, and what did they discipline you for?
We were one big family, and you didn't know whose children was who, or anything like that. And I never heard a curse word until I got grown and moved over on this side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I used to wish I knew how to curse. For what, I don't know. Because sometimes I used to have people talking about it, and I didn't know how you go about it. And but if you broke a lampshade, you probably get a spanking, or or a window light or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess it was so hard for them to replace it. But I never understood, why they, because everybody have accidents, But that's what they would do. And you never know. I mean, I guess it depends on what mood they was in.
Okay, so basically they didn't do a lot of disciplining because...
Oh, yeah, they did. They kept you in line.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. No, we didn't, but we had they were doing their thing, farming and things like that, and we'd go off to play. They didn't know what we were doing. I mean, if we got, and we couldn't fight each other, not to let them know, because we'd get spanking again.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd just fight out there among ourselves and just go on and dust ourselves off and go on home. Okay. Go to the house.
Uh-huh. Okay. Do you think that they prepared you for life?
I think they did the best that they could. They used to talk to us a lot, and they used to talk a lot, and they used to explain a lot of things, more than most
parents do now?
Most parents did in those days. I don't know about now, but they did an awful lot of explaining to us. Because they, at night they would talk over everything, and we would be there with them. And they'd explain what went on with them, when they was young and all that.
Okay. The next question is, describe your formal schooling. You told me you went to St. Peter Claver Elementary School, which was about 9 miles from you, and that later on you went to night school at Cardinal Gibbons.
Yes.
Okay.
I was married when I went to night school. I was living here. That was when Father Rock was, he taught night school for a while. I don't know what year.
Yeah, I think he came in 54, sometime like that, 53, 54.
But I don't think he started right away, but I don't know. I don't remember.
And you said how you had to cross the creek and then walk through the woods and then cross the road and walk up through the graveyard in order to get to the elementary school.
That's right. And we were always late. And when I was about in the 5th grade, this teacher, Sister Helena, used to always say, Dilla the dollar, 10 o'clock scholar. So we hated to go in the classroom, because, she was always calling other children's attention to it.
Oh.
Because all of them would start laughing, because we would have to push the boat off the shore, or else if the tide was high, we had to bail the boat out, and when it got to the other shore, we'd have to put boards down to get to the shore if the tide was low, and if it wasn't, we'd have to just, and then we had no overshoes, or rubbers, or anything, to protect your feet. Most of the time, we didn't have bottoms in your shoes. You put cardboard, or like if you had cardboard, you put newspaper or some kind of paper, and then that was wet. You changed that when you got to school. You kneel down and say the prayer, children push your pencil in the hole, put it in the shoes.
So this was every day you had to do that?
Every day we went to school.
Mm-hmm.
And then if the wind was blowing too hard, we had to walk all the way around the road.
So about how much further was that?
It was about 7 miles down in St. Jerome's Neck to 7 or 9 miles, before you got out of St. Jerome's Neck to Dameron. Then we had to go across the woods up there at Dameron to come out on 5 over here. One day it was after 12 when we got out to Dameron because the snow was on the ground. So we kept on up to St. James, up to Mason and his grandmother's house up there, across from Park Hall Road. But it's still on 5. I guess it was about 2 o'clock when we got up there. When we got to St. James Church, we went in there and said a prayer that we made it that far.
Just to hear.
We didn't rate the bus. They said that we didn't live far enough.
But you didn't live far enough away?
Yeah, we didn't live far enough away to rate the bus. The children down in Beachfield, they could ride the bus. The ones from St. James and the one from from Park Hall. But so we were in walking distance. They didn't even know where we lived. And they didn't know until the children got sick with the typhoid fever that they knew how far we had to go. And I told my aunt once, I said, I don't like going in school late. I said, because the teacher always, make mention of it. She said you should tell her she should come and go home with you once and she'd see how far you live. So I told her that once, but of course she didn't go home with him. But I mean, when the children got sick, Father McKenna brought the nuns around there because they were quarantined for a while, and nobody was supposed to visit them. But when they got so they could have company, have visitors, the nuns came around to see the children. She never said anything. I mean, she never made mention anymore, about that.
So who determined the buses? Who determined who went on the buses? Was it the county or the school did that?
Seems as if it was the school. I don't know who was determining because my uncle, would go to PTA meetings and he said something about, the children riding the bus. Even if they didn't ride the bus all the way home, they could ride it from school around to 235, and we still would have about 2 miles to walk before we got to St. Jerome's Creek. And then we had to cross the creek, which would have been a big help. But we didn't rate the bus. I don't know how persistent he was.
God, that's a story. My goodness. And think today kids only have to, the bus stops right in front of their door.
Yeah, because Geraldine used to stand there in the door and she could see the bus and she'd walk down there to catch the bus. And she said, I wish the bus would come through here, right at the front door. I said, girl, you don't know.
Oh, goodness. Okay, when you went to St. Peter's now, is it like is now, or when I went there, where it had the 2 stories with the 4 big classrooms? Was it like that when you went there?
Yes, they had that. They had the same thing. I don't know how many grades. I think it was the 4th and 5th grade, and 3rd and 4th grade. 2 grades in every room.
Every room. Mm-hmm. Who do you remember as being your favorite teacher?
Mother Damien.
Why?
I don't know particular because she seemed to she understood me better, I guess, or she gave me credit for having a little bit of sense. And in those days, they used to criticize the children, if they wasn't too bright or wasn't catching on the way that they thought they should.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember when the old school, before the old school burned down, I had a teacher. I guess they just, it was somebody, she wasn't trained to teach because she didn't have any patience.
Mm-hmm.
And if it hadn't been for one of my classmates, I would never learn how to do long division. Because what some children would understand, others don't. She would ask, how many 7s in 21? How many 7s was in 21? She didn't say, how many times it would go into that or something. I said, it's not going anywhere, It didn't make sense to me.
Okay.
And so this classmate of mine, he taught me more than she did. I said, what's she talking about? He said, put down 21 marks and see how many 7s you can get out of it.
Yeah.
Then I understood.
Understood what, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Sister Damien had a lot of patience.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
With me, some children didn't like it, but I did. Because when Sister Helena used to punish me, I wouldn't even talk to her, She'd kick me after school, not knowing how I was going to get home or what. And I was the only child in school, because she had me looking up these definitions, and I knew how to look up the definition, but I didn't know which one to use. And she thought I should know which one to use, and I'd use it, and that was the wrong one. And so she tried to get more out of me than what I was capable of doing, I guess.
Yeah. Was Sister Helena your least favorite teacher?
She got a lot of work out of me. She kept me, after school. She was determined that, that I would get it. She was a good teacher.
What was your favorite subject?
Geography.
Geography.
I could figure that out, doing a whole lot of studying.
And what did you hate the most?
Spelling.
Okay.
Spelling, because they didn't teach you phonics, so, I was heard them talking about it on TV. All these words that you had to memorize, you didn't know how to figure out, syllables, things like that. You just memorized this long list of words.
Okay.
And you don't learn to spell very well like that.
No. Okay. As a young adult, what did you dream of becoming?
I always dreamt of being a wife with 2 children, a husband and 2 children. That's what I always. But I used to tell people I wanted to be a nurse when they asked me, and until I found out what nurse had to do, and I found out I was afraid of dead people, and I'm not now, but I mean, I was
Uh-huh.
dreadfully afraid of dead people. And because when anybody died in our family, I never seen them. And I didn't even go to the funeral.
As a teenager, did your aunt and uncle let you court?
Not until I got 18.
Not until you got 18, okay. Well, when you got to be 18, where did you go and what did you do? You know, as far as courting was concerned.
Oh, I went to Washington shortly after that to live with my sister because she was working. She had 2 children, and I was babysitting and I didn't know it. I didn't realize it, you know.
Uh-huh.
But that's what I didn't go out too much with the. I mean, they didn't have any way to take care of it anyway. You just probably met them at parties, met someone at a party, but I didn't have any really steady boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. So when you were in Washington at your sister's, you all went to a lot of house parties.
No.
Okay.
We didn't. I mean, they didn't. Later on, yes, I did. I mean, after they moved, I mean, because they moved sort of in the suburbs, and they had house parties, a lot of house parties.
Uh-huh.
That's all they had was house parties and the theater.
Okay.
I remember the first time I went to theater, my cousin took me, and I had no idea what it was like. And it was, you know, when you come in out of the light, it was in the daytime. She and another girl, I don't know who the other lady was that was with her, they sat down, and I sit on the other side of them, as I thought, but I sat in somebody's lap. And I was embarrassed because I was sitting up higher than anybody else sitting in this woman's lap, and so I had to move over further. But I mean, instead of them leaving a seat for me, you know, they sat in the first seat.
Okay. What kind of work have you done to support yourself? You told me you worked in civil service for a few years, starting about 1944.
Before that, I worked for my first job was working for the priests at St. Michael's. I worked there for 3 years. I think it was in 39 or something like that.
So how old were you?
I have no idea. I guess I was in my 20s, I guess.
Oh, okay. But you went to Washington when you were 18 and babysat for your sister, and then you came back home, and then you worked for the priest at St. Michael's.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you get to work then?
I didn't live very far. I guess about 2 blocks away. I mean.
Oh, this was
over here on this side.
Okay.
At St. Michael's. No, I wasn't living here. I was living on 235.
Okay.
Where Joe Bryan lived. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And only across the road from him. And see, I could walk down there. And later on, I bought myself a bicycle. And I think I was so innocent, like I didn't have sense enough to know that the priest wasn't too fond of me riding the bicycle. I didn't get it. I mean, you know, because I said, ow, it's something, or, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm a slow learner. So later on, I mean, you know, I found out that they thought I should have been walking, I guess.
Oh, okay. Why did you go to work down there, down to St. Michael's?
Because the lady that was working there had quit, or something happened. I mean, they needed somebody to cook for them. I didn't know how to cook. I told them I didn't know how to cook. And Father McKenna kept saying, "Do you know how to boil water?" I told him, "Yes." "You know how to fry an egg or cook an egg or something?" I told him, yes. And that's practically all that they got for a while. I mean, because Father Kerr told me one morning, I give him eggs every morning for breakfast. He said, Alice, look back here, back at my neck. I look back there. I said, you see the feathers growing back there? So I ate so many eggs, I think I'm growing feathers.
Okay.
So I got to do something different.
Back then, when you were working down to St. Michael's, about how much money did you make? You know, what were they?
With the salary?
Yeah.
$5 a week.
$5 a week.
$5 a week, and then Robert, you know, the ladies wasn't allowed upstairs, so Father had his business office upstairs, or his desk upstairs. He'd make a few checks. And even before Robert and I got married, I mean, I wasn't married when I first started working down there. We was going together, but wasn't married. And he would always send my check downstairs by Robert. I had no way of cashing it. We had to walk over here to on 5 to cash the check at Lawnmower Store. So he'd always take it over in Father's car and take his check and cash it. So once he wasn't there long, I guess about 2 years later, one time he wasn't there, so Father brought a check downstairs to give to me. Robert come, I told him I had got a raise. He said, what do you get? I looked on it, he looked on it. He said, that's what you've been getting all the time. I hadn't seen the check for so long now. I thought I had got a raise. Because he had been cashing it.
Uh-huh. So for how many hours did you work? And you worked every day?
I think I worked every day because, I mean, on Sunday I was off. No, for a while. I wasn't even off on Sunday. Off Sunday afternoon, but I mean, so was I off every time Sunday afternoon, but I think they had dinner early on Sunday afternoon. I hated it. Because I had to fix Father's breakfast, Sunday morning.
Uh-huh.
Father Kerr, because he was a pastor at St. Michael's, I fixed his breakfast on Sunday morning. So I was there until, I guess, about 4 or 5 o'clock on Sunday evening.
So every day you were there for breakfast and dinner?
Mm-hmm. I'd go home after breakfast. I could go home after breakfast until it was time for lunch. Some days, if Father Kerr, if he was going to Washington, his family was in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to go. So I'd be off for the rest of that day if he was going away to visit his mother.
Mm-hmm. But you only made $5 a week. Okay.
And I didn't feel too bad because I didn't know how to do anything. So they were paying me to learn.
Okay. When you went to work civil service, this was at Tucson?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do there?
We did, janitorial work, cleaning the office. But I was working at night. Started working in the day, but soon transferred to night.
Mm-hmm.
Which I like better. I worked at Fighting Arts School too. We would clean each one of us had a hall, clean the classrooms at night.
What do you remember about your wedding? How did you meet Mr. Robert?
Well, we started the school together, where his brother built his house down here. down the street from me. That's where the black schoolhouse was.
This is on 235?
On Bennett Drive.
Bennett Drive, okay.
Right down the street. The next house down on the left.
Okay. Was the black schoolhouse?
Oh, it's a black schoolhouse. And the first black schoolhouse was over there where Ann and Tony's store is now. But when we was going to school, it was over here where Ed bought the piece of property where the black schoolhouse used to be.
Okay.
And you know how bigger boys always put the smaller ones up to doing things? When they march out of the school, the boys told Robert, I don't know whether he told him to feel all the girls' legs or not, he told him to feel his legs, you know. And so it made me mad. I mean, you know, as I say, I didn't know how to curse, so I told him I was going to knock the slops out of it. That's how I met him.
So, okay. The black school, but that was the public school.
Yes.
So you, what were you doing there?
Well, when I started the school, I started down here. They hadn't started the school up there at St. Peter's, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they had started up there. Maybe they had, but I guess they thought it was too far for us to go. Maybe. I don't know.
So you met him when you were real young?
When I first started the school,
okay.
6 or 7 years old.
Okay. So, when did you get married? How old were you?
25.
25. Okay, what year?
1940.
Okay.
1940.
1940, okay. And why did you decide to get married?
Oh, we were going together and had been going together. I mean, you know, courting each other. But I think the preachers over there encouraged her, you know, because Father, once in a while, Father McKenna would say, "Are you all planning on getting married?" And we would tell me, yes. If you don't set a date, you'll never get married. So that did it, I guess.
Okay.
Setting the date did it. So I mean, and the nuns over there, they practically raised Robert because he lived right next door to him. They taught him his prayers and everything. And the one that cooked over there, she said, since you're getting married, you know, and we told her what date we were getting married on. She said, why don't you wait and get married on the Feast of the Holy Roses? So that's what, the 7th of October. So that's what we did. And they told us any important thing that we plan on do it on a feast day. And that would help you too, to remember, you know, the date. So we bought the car. Had one new car, so we bought that on the feast day. And we moved over here on the Feast of Blessed Mother and things like that.
Okay. Did y'all have a honeymoon?
One day honeymoon, it wasn't a honeymoon. I mean, it wasn't anything because Father McKenna loaned us his car. We took Charles, Forrest, Ernestine, and Ben. Ernestine and Ben were cousins. I mean, were brothers and sisters. All of us got in the car and we went to Washington and Baltimore. And came on back home. I mean, we just rode out.
Okay, so y'all took other people on y'all's honeymoon.
That's right. That's right. We took them on the trip or whatever.
Okay.
And that was the end of the honeymoon.
Yeah. Okay. What has your family life been like? You know, describe your marriage, your life with Mr. Robert, and you know, the kids. All the kids.
Oh, mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, of course, Robert, I mean, some men wants to be boss of everything, so I let him be boss, He, I don't know, he used to give me money to pay the bills, and I'd write, keeping him in my purse and, forget to mail it, and he'd think it was going to be late payments, and stuff like that, so he took that over because he'd ask me, had I mailed the oil bill or something? Oh, I still have it, in my purse. Mm-hmm. And he started doing the shopping because he said the stuff that I bought was just things that I seen advertised, like on commercials or stuff like that. Until he got tired. He did it for quite a while, and so he finally told me for him to start doing shopping. I didn't know a thing about buying a roast of beef or nothing else. I mean, I'd have to ask somebody else, was this a good piece of meat or roast, or ask the butcher or somebody. I didn't know how to pick out meat, especially.
Okay. But besides that part of it, him, as you say, wanted to be boss, y'all had a good relationship.
Had a good relationship, I think, because we always had meals together, all of us. And we'd always talk, and he'd always explain what he was doing, and things like that. And he didn't think I was paying too much attention to what he was saying, but a lot of times, but I did.
Okay. Oh, now you said that you raised a couple of your brother-in-law's children.
He was my cousin.
Your cousin. That was Geraldine.
Geraldine was Mason's daughter, which was my first cousin.
Okay.
Child.
And Barbara.
And Barbara, she wasn't a relative at all. She started as a foster child.
Okay.
And so was Pamela. And then I also had Jeannie for 3 years. She was my nephew's daughter.
Okay. So you raised Geraldine from the age of 8 until she graduated from Cardinal Gibbons, and Barbara from the time she was 5 until she graduated from Great Mills?
Yes,
Great Mills. And Jeannie for 3 years. And you said Pam for 2 years.
Pam stayed down here about 2 or 3 years. I don't remember when.
Okay. What part has religion played in your life? You said you've always attended St. Peter Catholic Church, right? Okay. So what does the church mean to you?
Oh, well, I think it helps you morally, and because our parents, especially my aunt, used to always say, you'd be wholly responsible for any wrongdoings that you did. And I was always thinking about these things because she used to tell us, that you had to be held responsible for them, answer to. And I'd often think about it. She's saying on the last day you'd be judged, and everybody be listening to everything that's the part that I thought about, listening to all the sins that you had committed.
Oh, yeah. That would sort of make you say, well, I can't do any sinning because everybody's going to hear it.
Everybody's going to know what I did one of these days.
Okay. And you were telling me how much the nuns and the priests influenced your life, as far as sort of making you set the date for your wedding, and then telling you what date you should have. Yeah. So the church as a whole has influenced your life a lot. Okay. What community activities do you participate in? Do you belong to any clubs?
Not now. I mean, I don't know any clubs. I don't belong to any clubs now. I mean, Knights of St. Jerome, but I don't know whether you call that a club or what.
You participate in church activities?
Not now. I mean, I did. When the nuns, when they had, before the school closed over there, I was over there. I cleaned the classroom, the first grade classroom, every evening, and the toilets, because the sister said they couldn't stand it, the smell. And I used to help them with everything. Rob and I used to sand the desks in the first grade room. We took all the varnish off the desks and sanded them to help Sister Cornelia with those. And next year, Father changed her around in another classroom. Oh, she was so outdone.
I didn't know that.
We put her in the where they had the first, the 7th and 8th grade classroom. And I don't know why.
Well, I guess by the time I got there, the 7th and 8th grade were over to the other school.
I guess so.
Yeah, because only went to the 6th grade on that side. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna ask you about some more about your involvement with the nuns at St. Peter's, and you helping out with some of the school activities, especially as I remember the drum and bugle corps, and I know you used to travel a lot with Sister Cornelius.
When they first started with the drum and bugle corps, the priests and the nuns, wasn't any of them interested in it. Because they didn't think it was going to amount to anything.
And priests didn't think that it was going to amount to anything, so she didn't get the kind of support that she should have.
She sure didn't. And we took our car, and which was I think it was a 51 Chevrolet, 2-door. And you know how that is with the children getting in and out the back of it. We had to take the children home, especially the majorettes, home when they practiced, because its parents didn't know what it was all about, and they didn't bother to come after me until after the first performance. And then they was lined up outside, because I guess you remember that first performance.
I don't remember the first performance, but I definitely remember you taking us home and stopping at the ice cream place on Willows Road.
And you don't know what that was all about, because Sister asked the children, "Will you children like some ice cream?" "Yes, Sister." You all started jumping out the car, going in there. Sister didn't have the first penny, and after all you all got out, said, "Miss Bennett, will you loan me some money to buy?" I'll pay you. She didn't have no money, no way of paying me nothing. I looked at her. She said, "What's the matter? You think I'm not going to pay you?" And you all in there ordering up ice cream, and I'm going to have to pay for it, and take you home, pay for gas to get you home. And when y'all used to march down here,
Mhm.
call herself giving y'all marching lessons or exercise or something. And they had a thunderstorm, and y'all came here, and all the boys was out there on that porch there because all of you couldn't fit in the house here. She gets me, take me down to the store. She asked me to take her down the store. Get down there, and she orders up this soda and stuff and to bring back here to treat you.
With no money.
No money. But I don't know what happened. She used to do those sort of things.
Uh-huh.
And one time I looked in my purse and I had money in there. I mean, you know, after a few days later, I thought she had sneaked some money in my purse. I don't know where it came from because I didn't have that much money. I wasn't even working. I mean, you know. I said, I don't know where the money came from. I asked her, did she put it in there? She said, no. So somebody paid me back or furnished me with money.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, but that's what she would do. I mean, she would aggravate me like that. And she knows. And I'd have to take her to get the bugles. We went to this old second-hand store in Baltimore down on Central Avenue. And it was a little old one-way street. And then when you got inside, you go down in the basement. I mean, you went down to get into the store. Then you had to go through a little hallway, no lights, to get back in this storage room where you had all this second-hand stuff in there. It wasn't even, it was dark on your way getting back in there. And one time she left her money bag down there, what money she had left, down there at the store. And my sister was having a benefit party for her up there at St. Peter's in Baltimore. So she got Josie and Wesley to go down there to ask them did they see it. So she went down there, they found the money. They gave her the money. But to get money to buy those instruments, she had, you know, she'd sell this popcorn. And so after a while, I stopped going over there to help with popcorn. I used to pop the popcorn here and put it in a big bag, and then I'd put it in these little sandwich bags and staple it up. And all she had to do is reach in there and get it and sell it to the children. So, and that's what she bought the band instruments with, popcorn money.
I'm really, you know, I belonged to the band for all the time that the band was there. And, you know, naturally as a child, you don't know all of these things. So now once, after the first performance, the parents and the other teachers and the other nuns and priests were for the band, but they still didn't give that much help.
They gave more help because, I mean, Father bought this old station wagon, I guess you remember, from Surplus Place, and that's what I could always use after that to carry the children home in, especially the majorettes. And that's how, on the way back, Sister Cornelia could learn how to drive. But she would never get her license because she didn't have one eye. And she was afraid that she wouldn't pass, but she knew how to drive better than Mother Anselm. I taught, I don't know how many of them how to drive. Mother Anselm didn't get home as quick as the rest of them. I don't think she ever learned how to park.
Okay. How do you feel about life in general today in St. Mary's County? And in what ways is it different than what it used to be? You were talking earlier about the violence now. You know, what other changes have you seen?
Well, people don't socialize as much unless they, out at some entertainment. That's the only time the people don't visit each other. Well, they may have a few friends they visit, but I mean, people used to stop all along the road and visit anybody that they knew. They don't do that now. I mean, they have television to look at. They don't communicate with each other as much because they're sitting there looking at television. Did somebody say something? Hi. So, wait a minute. Something's on television that they want to hear. And things like that.
Do you think the quality of life is better now than it used to be?
Sure. Yeah, I think so. Years ago, they didn't have any convenience. Didn't have running water. Didn't have plumbing. Didn't have electric lights. My uncle always read the paper, but he had to put it on the other side of the lamp. The lamp would be between him and the paper to read.
Okay, the next question is, are people different from what they used to be in St. Mary's? And I know you've answered that question in that, you were talking about the violence, and then you were talking about, they don't communicate.
They don't socialize. You just have a few friends that that come in, and if somebody else come in, you wonder what they're coming for, one of those numbers.
Okay. Do you think teenagers are better today than they used to be?
No, because your parents could correct my children as well as I would correct them. Anybody would correct a teenager or any child, and they did. And my aunt, said when they were coming along, they would spank them to see them doing something. And then if they told the parents, they'd go home and get another one.
Okay. Well, what do you think, caused the change in the people's attitude?
Well, they got more independent. They didn't have to depend on them for transportation, because when we used to go to church, I lived over on 235, we walked all the way to St. Peter's Church. And if you caught somebody that had a car, which wasn't many people that had cars going our way, Mr. Gant and Mr. Gunn was only two there for a while. And they would pick up anybody until their car got loaded, take them to church. If they was walking, if there wasn't too many of them, they would take them to church. They never passed up anybody. And now, they look at you and keep on going. Even if they want to pick you up, they're afraid to pick you up.
Right, yeah. Do you think the race relations, do you think there's a difference in the county?
It's a difference. It's a different kind of difference, I say, because people, they seem to have known how to get along with each other years ago, but now they don't even try. Most of them don't try to get along with you. They don't have to put up with you. And because people, when we was over in St. Jerome Neck, it wasn't but 3 black families around there. and we all got along like one big family, because what one had, the other didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
We was always running out of kerosene, and I thank Robert Lee Owens' mother, he's an electrician, his grandmother, we always borrowed kerosene from her, and we always had a bottle that looked like a fifth bottle, I guess, about that size, and it had a string tied around it. I always had to be the one to go and ask her for borrow this kerosene.
Mm-hmm.
After a while, I found out what she was doing. She would just sit the bottle there until I come back again, and she either pour it in there or give me the bottle that I had brought for the kerosene. Just change bottles.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, if she can do it, I can do it too. Because my uncle would go and buy kerosene when they go shopping. I'd swipe that much kerosene out of there and go hide it up in the barn. And when she says to run out of kerosene, go over Ms. McKay's and borrow some kerosene, I'd go up in the barn and get it. And carry it to her. I got embarrassed to keep going over asking for kerosene.
Mm-hmm.
And after I found out what she was doing, I said, that taught me a lesson. I said, how to save, to do for yourself.
Yeah.
And then when they went shopping on Saturday mostly, I'd get some flour. I'd put that upstairs in my father's trunk. Get salt, all the stuff that they get from the store. I'd get some of it, and baking powder and stuff like that. Carry it upstairs and put it, lock it up in the trunk. So my aunt used to say, you got any such thing in your storeroom?
So, how old were you then?
I guess I was about 12 or, 12 or 13 years old or something like that.
So, okay, where did you get the money from to buy these?
I didn't have to buy those things. When they went to the store to get supplies, when they come back with the supplies,
Oh.
I'd take some of them.
Oh, okay.
They didn't know I was taking them.
Uh-huh.
I just take them and hide them.
So that when they when they ran out,
yeah,
you could go to, okay. You were saving for a rainy day.
Yeah.
Okay, so you saying that y'all got along very well with the whites that lived in your area,
Yeah.
and but today you don't think the race relations is that good?
No.
Okay.
No, because even they would visit you,
Mm-hmm.
and we'd visit them,
Mm-hmm.
or if anything went on, and we had a farm, and they'd come after milk and cream or butter or whatever, and we'd borrow sugar and things
Mm-hmm.
like that from them, and kerosene or baking powder or stuff like that. Well, everybody borrowed from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't have to do that.
Okay. When segregation was here, were you afraid of any group or person, practicing hate?
No, the only thing we were afraid of, that school, that building over there, Ridge Marina, was a white school, public school. And we walked down this road, and they call you a lot of names, racial names, slurs and stuff like that, and throw out there at you. Only time we was afraid of them is when you was passing these schools, and you passed St. Michael's School, and the convent, they had boarders, girls boarding there, and they'd stand out on the bank and call your names. And that's the only time you had to tighten up every...
When you passed schools,
Yeah.
the public and the Catholic schools that were down here in Ridge. Okay. How do you feel about living in the county? You said that you lived for a short while in Washington.
I never liked the city. I never liked the city. I couldn't stand the smell of different odors. Like the streetcar and the soft coal that they burn for fuel. it just make me sick. And then I didn't like riding the streetcars, got to get motion sickness. And things like that. I mean, I'd like to wide open spaces.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think that there's a difference between the people that were born in the county and the outsiders who came in? Even though the outsiders may have been here for 50 years?
I don't know. I mean, it depends on where the outsiders came from. A lot of them came from the South, and they worked harder, seemed to work harder than people around here. I mean, you know, for their money, because they hadn't been used to getting that kind of salary, and they was grateful for it. Like the Filipinos and the people now, you know, they come here, they work for less money, and so they always, you know, got better ratings than the people around here when they had to work for different people. But other than that, I mean, they got along, seemed to got along fine.
So you don't think there was really a difference in the people that were born here and the outsiders who came in?
No, not as far as their character or anything like that. It's too much.
Do you interact with outsiders living in the county?
What you mean, interact with them?
Well, do you associate with them?
I love talking to them because, I mean, you know, it teaches you different things. I mean, you learn what they were doing. I mean, you know, different from what you were doing. I always like to talk to, you know, someone from somewhere else.
Okay. Now, besides living in Washington for a short period of time, did you do any other traveling? Did you live any place else besides down here in the Ridge, Dameron area?
No, I mean, no, only, you know, visiting with relatives or something like that.
Okay. Do you travel or interact, associate with people in the other sections of the county? Like, for instance, the 7th District or over in the Piney Point area?
I love the Piney Point area. And St. George's and Valley, because I know more people around there. And I love going around there. It's like going to Scotland. I mean, but most of the people that I knew in Scotland, most of them are all dead now. And I love going out of the county, you know, people, I mean, meeting people that I used to know. I mean, visiting with people I used to know. Anytime that I can.
Okay. So when you do go to the other parts of the county, you go there just to visit, you know. Okay. But I guess the question is about, on the average, of how often, you know, is it once a year? Do you find yourself only going to, like, the 7th District maybe once a year or once every 3 years, or you haven't been in the last 20 years? Or
no,
what?
sometimes I just, if I, you know, have a friend of mine, we just ride around.
Okay.
And decide that even if we don't stop in anybody's house, sometimes we just ride by, and I just show them where places that I used to visit, because when people are home, or when to drop in, or stuff like that.
Okay. Do you think that people are different in other sections of the county?
I don't know. I mean, you know, when you're around people that you see often, you just take them for granted, I guess, and you're always glad to see these other people. What they say, where you welcome at, or something, and stuff like that. But I mean, I love meeting up with people that I haven't seen for quite a while.
Okay. What do you think of the direction that the county is going in today?
I don't know what direction it's going into.
Okay. I'll sort of get back to that question in a minute. How have you contributed to the county, through your work, your family, your citizenship, politics, and your other values? Besides St. Peter's and the band and like that, which, as far as I'm concerned, was a big contribution. Have you done anything else like that?
I can't recall. I mean, anything too important.
Did you? Were you involved in the 4-H?
When I was in school, yes. In school.
When you were in school, but as an adult,
No,
you didn't.
no.
Okay.
I seemed to furnish more transportation for whatever somebody else was doing than anything else, like taking people to the doctor, and sometimes I'd have to take them to 3 different doctors. I mean, 3 different people to 3 different doctors the same day, and things like that. I didn't have time for too much other things.
And you still do that today, right?
I do a lot of that now.
Okay. What do you consider to be the most valuable thing you have ever had? Something you could not have done without in your lifetime?
A home. I don't know. I mean, we lived in our aunt's house when we first got, my aunt's house when we first got married. I always wanted a home. That was one thing I wanted, because she lived away, and when she come home, she would always bring all these relatives with her. We didn't have any place to sleep. Sometimes she used to sleep with Robert and I. I'd get up and leave them both in bed together, and he'd find that he was in bed with her. He'd get up, because she'd make up all these other beds and put linen on them for company, waiting for them to come, and sometimes he wouldn't come until the next morning. And I always said I wanted a place of my own.
Yeah. Okay. Have you done everything in your life that you wanted or planned to do?
Yes, I mean, as I mostly played by ear, I guess. I mean, I got married. I mean, and I didn't plan on working too much here, away from home.
Okay, so what you had planned or wanted to do, you did.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could go back and live your life over again, what would you change?
I don't know anything, special that I would. I mean, I can't think of anything that I would do too much different from what I did now. One thing, when we bought this place, we didn't have any credit. So we had the cash money, but if you spend it all buying a home, you don't have anything left. So I would try to build up some credit before I try to buy something.
Okay. What do you think have been the biggest changes in the county in your lifetime?
I guess just the growth of the county. I mean, that base up there was the biggest change I imagine.
Well, okay. One of the questions is, well, what are your feelings about the base? Were any of your family affected by the government coming in and taking land?
No, because all my family, that had property was down this section. It was just people up around St. Nicholas and Jarvisville that was affected.
Okay. So your family weren't hostile to the base for coming. They thought it was a good move.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what are your feelings now about the base expanding? You know, that was, you know, then in '44 when the base came, you know, like you were saying that, you know, that was a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now that the base is expanding and all of this new growth is coming in, what do you think about that?
I really have not. The only thing I've thought of is the drugs coming in and strange people, you know, more people coming in that you don't know about, and how violent they are or what. You just don't know.
Mm-hmm. How did black folks get news? You know, when you were growing up.
Our family always had the Enterprise or the Beacon, because my uncle always read the newspaper. One of my uncles couldn't read. My father, he left, you know, when I was to work in Washington when I was 7, so I always remember this Uncle Randolph reading the newspaper. I thought folding it back was half of the reading, you know. Thought that if you didn't know how to fold it, paper, you didn't know how to read. I used to marvel at him doing that. But he always got the newspaper. Mm-hmm. But other people just got it by word of mouth, I guess. A lot of them, because a lot of them couldn't read. And somebody come along, I mean, even when people died, I mean, they didn't know, a lot of times they didn't know that somebody had died.
Mm-hmm. So, did y'all have radio?
No, I don't think we ever had radio. We used to go up to a neighbor's house, one of the white ones, and go up there and listen to the radio. And then they had this thing, the Three Black Crows program that come on. It was white people, but they were talking, you know, black. And Molly and Fibber McGee, Fibber McGee and Molly, things like that. But a lot of times my uncle would just go up there, Uncle Charlie, the oldest uncle. After he kept finished the work. But my father, he was younger than the other two, and his wife was dead, so he'd go out sporting sometime at night, you know. Dress up and go out in the horse and buggy. But my other uncle, he'd go play cards, and Uncle Randolph, he sat around, he was a homebody person. Very seldom he went out, and if they went out like the 4th of July and Labor Day, and he'd take the children and he'd start taking them home about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. And if my aunt wasn't out there by that time, he'd take me home too. And I didn't want to go. And I used to look up at them and I say, it must be crazy. But music just beginning to and he's going home. But I didn't realize that he had all these children, and he had to take them home before they went to sleep because they were walking.
Oh, he didn't have the horse and buggy.
No, I mean, he didn't ride out with the horse and buggy at that time. I don't remember him carrying it to a party. Sometimes, I mean, to entertainment out there. But sometimes he would, they had games over there. They had tournament.
Over St. Peter's?
St. Peter's. And he would bring the horse out then because he'd ride tournament. I remember he got first crown, the Queen's crown. My father got the first maid of honor. They was running around looking for us to crown us, the children. Ernestine, they put a crown on her. I mean, she got the Queen's crown, and I got the maid of honor. We didn't even know our parents ever won. He was just running around.
So what kind of tournaments were these?
Horse tournaments, you know. I mean, they, you know how they do with the
jousting.
Jousting, they had this lance.
Yeah.
That you catch so many rings on, and whoever caught the most rings would get the Queen's crown.
Okay, and they had that over St. Peter's. Can you share any old stories about what life used to be in the county when you were young?
More than what
the stories you have already told.
Some of those I've told. My aunt had a later on. I guess I was about 11 or 12. She had I wasn't that old when she first started this dancing pavilion. She had a party every Saturday night at this dancing pavilion.
Where was that?
Over here on 235, here in Ridge, called Allen's Park.
Allen's Park on 235. About where?
Where Joe Bryan Joe Bryan is on the right going south, and she was on the left going south. And she had a house there too, but I mean she had a pavilion, and they used to shoot pool upstairs, and she had a counter downstairs. Used to make the homemade ice cream and had fried chicken sandwiches and cake and pies and things like that.
And dancing.
Dancing,
yeah.
And then she put me behind the counter and she said, as soon as I collect from these people, you can go dance. And I said, I'm a slow learner, because when they get ready to play Home Sweet Home, she said, yeah, you can go dance. And she was collecting all that time, you know. And there's two things I hate to do now, is collect money, sell anything, or I was so glad that people forgot about playing Home Sweet Home. They always used to play, that's the always ended with Home Sweet Home. And she'd tell me, I'd get halfway around the floor, and that was the end of it.
Oh, well. It was, I thought it was another question I had wanted to ask again, but, you know, I like I said, I know how much you worked with the nuns at St. Peter's, and especially with the Drum and Bugle Corps, and I remember many a time coming over here and you doing our hair in Shirley Temple curls.
Yeah, some was taking baths while doing others' hair, because Father had decided to have the photographer down there to take y'all's pictures. And Sister said, you know, y'all would have to be looking decent, you know, which you were when you got finished. And I'd go up there and pick up a load, and then she started seeing what I was doing and start pressing somebody's hair. And when he got finished with the last load, someone said, Sister, I didn't know you knew how to press children's hair. She said, I didn't. So that's the first time I ever pressed somebody's hair. They said, oh, gracious, if I had known that you'd never got on my head. But I remember this. I was telling you about that first performance show we had. She had some of the children to line up on the stairs, and you all came down with your heads down, behind them, and they couldn't see you and they drawed the curtain, and they couldn't see you until they opened up the curtain, and all of y'all was on stage performing.
The majorettes.
Yeah. And people was just crying. I mean, they were so happy. I mean, they were so proud of their children.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember it?
Well, see, I was only in the second grade at that time, so.
Oh, when you was a majorette?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I didn't know you were that young. I mean, I got some pictures of that.
Yeah, I'm sure I was in the second grade.
But I don't know what happened to the color picture I had, because Sister Cornelia had give me all of her pictures about 2 weeks before she died. And but you loan them here and you loan them there, and somebody see something interesting, you want
Sort
to
of
take
take it,
you
yeah.
take it. But
Well, that concludes the interview. I hope the sound is good on this. If not, I will have to call you and ask you, please, can I come back and do it again when I get it right? But this concludes the interview for today, September the 5th. Biographical data information on Alice Rebecca Biscoe Bennett. P.O. Box 404, Ridge, Maryland, 20680. Telephone number 301-872-5379. Birth date November 14th, 1915. Birthplace St. Jerome's Neck in Dameron, Maryland. Education Tall Pines Elementary School. She believes that's the name of it. Then St. Peter Claver Elementary School, and night school at Cardinal Gibbons. Ms. Alice worked in the civil service from 1944 to 1949. She babysat from 1953 to 1955, and then her occupation was homemaker. Her husband's name was Robert Anthony Bennett. Her maternal grandparents were John Lafayette Langley and Catherine Marie Biscoe Langley. Her paternal grandparents were Benjamin Biscoe and Sarah Ann Biscoe. Her grandmother was also known as Maria, and she doesn't remember what her maiden name was. Her mother was Roxy Adeline Langley Biscoe. Her father was Joseph Adam Biscoe, also known as Rex. Her sister is Hilda Regina Biscoe White Hewlett. Her son was named Norman Bernard Bennett, who died at age 9. She raised Geraldine Briscoe, Alfred Rogers, and Barbara Bennett Brooks. Geraldine's children are named Iris Alfred and James Rogers. Barbara's children are Aaron Brooks and Sheena Brooks. That's the end of the biographical data information on Alice Bennett.